so my name is Michael Ukwuma, and I am Nigerian. I am a researcher, and I've worked in the human rights space for most of my career life.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
I am country lead for an organization called 100, but I also founded an organization called Civics. And what I kind of do is try to facilitate positive social change in Nigeria, help young people make better decisions, create a better life for themselves, and all those kinds of stuff. So, and one of the ways we try to do that is through content creation. So, we run a YouTube channel, we do podcasts, and we write and create e-courses. So, in the past 3-4 years, we've done this on ad hoc basis. But starting from now, it's something we're going to be giving a lot of time and attention, and something I'm going to be doing on a full time. So we're going to have more trainings, we're going to have more engagements, we're going to work with more young people and with more organizations that work with young people. So typically, the nation and the continent has got to a time when we need to move from talking to acting more. And that's kind of what I'm going to be spending a lot of my time doing from now onwards. Let's see if we can create the change we want in Nigeria and in Africa.
That's very interesting. We need to be the change that we want. A while ago, I was talking with a professor in Suka before we started this conversation. Of course, we're talking about history, how we could possibly use history to build the Nigerian national identity. Of course, as you can see, ASUN has been on strike for a long time. So if you could allow students to be at home for more than 6 months, so I don't know what kind of argument you want to make for that the people you say you were going to represent, they're at home. So I don't know how they have managed to convince the people that, okay, we are still going on the same direction.
And it's strange that we keep repeating the same things, expecting different results. One of the largest, reservations people had about President Muhammad Buhari when he was running for to 2015 was the fact that he himself had no evidence of having attended secondary school, completing one. And, we're going to be ruled by a primary school graduate, a primary school leaver. And people said at this time, this isn't good enough. Can we have someone who's educated? Can we have somebody who understands international relations, who understands how to fix the economy and all that? But we said, well, Buhari is disciplined. He's going to be the man to do the job. And I will bring in a man who is poorly educated, and the result is obvious. He does not think anything about education. The educational funding is the worst it's ever been in our history, or in our modern history.
We believe that everyone has a story to share. We believe in the power of storytelling in today's digital economy. Yes, we believe that our audience need to be touched at the level of emotion so we can better engage. What about you? Do you believe in storytelling as much as we do? Do you want to reach the hearts and minds of your audience? Then join us in our online training class, Storytelling for Content Creators and Digital Entrepreneurs. Come to obehi1food.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skills so you can earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. Storytelling is a powerful instrument at our disposal. Let's explore it together. See you in the class.
Schools have been on strike the longest. There are more schools closed down in Nigeria either due to insecurity or due to strikes and all whatnot. And we're not getting any indications that the government is worried at all. So uh, and the elections coming up again.
That is a key word there, worried, because like they are not concerned. It's like, okay, it's business as usual. If you are not in school, what does it mean? Nothing. The professor just now is she says that she received in her salary, the last salary that she received was in February, and it was about $500. That is what she received as salary.
Yeah,
That should be shameful.
yeah. I was saying that in another forum. Okay, so we're having this office space with other country leads from 100, and we were having this conversation about the remunerations that teachers receive in Enugu, where I live, and from where I'm making this call currently. And primary school teachers in Enugu have been on strike. Now, Enugu is just one state, so it's not like in the national space. People are not talking about Enugu because NASU is the big one. But then, primary school teachers who work in government institutions have been on strike for many months now because the governor is unable to pay minimum wage, and minimum wage is currently 30,000 naira, which is give or take $50. Actually, maybe, well, depending on the rate you're using, it could be more, it could be less than $50, and the state government is not able to pay a grown man or grown woman who probably has a family, children to feed, $50 at the end of a whole month's work, and they're expected to work for less. Some of these teachers go home with half that amount. Imagine working for a whole month and having $25. That's what some people spend on a paltry meal. In a fancy Italian restaurant, you spend way more than that. But people work for a whole month, and this is the reality. So people are looking at ASU at the national level, but this is a nationwide epidemic in various states, and at various levels. We have this problem, where teachers are either poorly paid, paid when the employers feel generous, because then you should be happy if you're paid, considering that the norm is that the government will not pay you for months of work. So it's a problem not only in the educational space, is literally everywhere in the employment space in Nigeria. People work literally for free. People don't expect to be paid, and if your boss pays you, then you have to worship him. You have to worship him and do everything in your power to make sure he's happy. And there is everything wrong with the way all of these things have played out in Nigeria, and the fact that day after day people are finding them as normal. We are cultivating a culture of mediocrity. We're promoting the worst form of mental slavery, and it would have been better we had colonial masters doing this to our people, then we can protest. But this is our people doing this to our own people. And then we have young persons like us who are paid by the government, who sing their praises on social media and come out online shamelessly to tell us that the government of the day is doing so well, that the governors are, you need to hear them praise my governor, the one who cannot pay minimum wage to primary school teachers. You need to see them sing and dance in his name, and you begin to wonder, how are those people crazy? Or
But
like,
do they live in the state that you live in? Do they see the teacher that are unpaid, I mean, are they living with the people? Are they living somewhere they don't understand that this is happening?
these people live in the states, they understand the situation, but then in their poor state of mind, or in the poverty state of mind that has inflicted them, they imagine that it's better to keep singing the praises and then get something at the end of the day. And there's that popular thing they say in the political space in Nigeria, that when you're on the when you have a seat on the table and you're eating, you don't talk. And that's a way they keep people silent. So once you become very critical of the government and you become very vocal, chances are somebody's going to reach out to you and they're going to offer you a position. So in Enugu and in many of the states, virtually all the states, you have governors who have hundreds of personal assistants who have no portfolio, who have no office, who have no job, no contributions to the state whatsoever. Some of them have never even shook hands with the governor that they are assisting. And that's the so if tomorrow I become very vocal against the governor of Enugu State, chances are they're going to reach out to me and they'll ask me to come and become a personal assistant to the governor.
To do what?
Yeah, so that once you have the title, you can no longer criticize the government. As a matter of fact, it will become your job to defend the frivolities and irresponsibilities of the government of the day. And I find that very appalling. Every time I get a chance to, every time I run into these young people, sometimes, persons younger than myself, I feel so ashamed of myself. I'll be like, man, guys, you should quit, you know. And the response is always the same. If we leave this one, then what happens to us? This is an opportunity. Maybe, you never can tell. Maybe. And they're going to be poor for the rest of their lives. They're going to remain slaves to these political people. And they're going to have to work for them and do their dirty jobs and have to lie and pretend that all is well, even when they know that the country is in shambles. I had a friend and I said to him, this guy is the chairman, the local government chairman isn't doing anything. And he said, well, I know he's not doing anything, but he's my brother. Other persons he said other persons have been there and they did nothing and they took their share of the money. Is it now that my brother is chairman that I'll start complaining? Let him just get his own share and come home, then we can continue from where we stopped. And that's the problem. That's why you get the government of settlement. Is my turn. One of the presidential candidates said, Emiloko, it's my turn. I've paid my dues. You guys must give me. I've settled many people. It's my turn to be settled. And I'm wondering, like, when did it start to work that way? We're looking at uh, the problems in Nigeria of mammoth proportions, and we're looking at solutions that are hard to come by. And in this age and time, somebody says it's my turn. I don't care about you. I don't care about your needs. I don't care about your economy. Just make me president. And that's why a lot of them are not willing to come forward. Go for interviews, come out, engage with the people, come and talk to us. Can we ask you questions? Can you tell us what your plan really is? They don't have any.
That's what we're going to be talking about today. Nigeria 2023. It's an important conversation, I think. No. Now, first of all, what is the situation? Okay, we got this some background from you now. The general situation. Nigeria, it looked like a decaying substance, not something that is really decaying, or a myth that will be rotting. All right. What do you say? What is your take of the current political game, the drama that is going on in preparation for 2023?
Well, I think as the campaigns get ready to begin later next month, the politicians are warming up their drums, to play the same music that they've played over and over again. It's usually at this time of the year that politicians begin to go to the markets to hawk or to buy stuff or to fry akara on the road. It's at this time they go to schools and they sit down and eat with students and they carry dirty babies on the road and take pictures. But the young people are trying to change that narrative. We're trying to change the way our politicians treat us. That treatment they give us every 4 years when they come and they begin to pretend as if they really care has to change now because the conversations are changing from, oh, he's just a person like us, to, oh, he's brilliant, because now we want to hear facts, we want to see figures, we want to look at past records. And Mr. Peter Obi's, well, who's like the preferred candidate for the young people, is leading the way and setting the pace for how it should be. So it's a very charged situation. Like, everybody's upset, everybody's angry in Nigeria right now. And this morning I was at a friend's house, and he's a P2B supporter, and so is his mom. But the father supports Atiku Abubakar, the PDP, the PDP presidential candidate. And it was a drama. Like I just sat back and I watched the drama. I watched the father just sit back and say, I think he's my man. And the mom is ranting. I say, how can you support that man? He's bad. And then the mom is playing videos of P2B right there in the sitting room and inviting everybody to come and see what's happening in Canada. So it's interesting, right? And it's heated. People are not keeping. In fact, we're not waiting for the politicians to campaign anymore. The people are campaigning for the politicians that they want. People are going to war because the way we see it, 2023 is a do or die affair. It's a matter of life and death. Because just like you rightly described, the situation in Nigeria right now uh, looks like it's highly deteriorating. It's highly decayed. And I'm not sure this country called Nigeria can survive another 4 years of bad governance. And so, if by any chance, if for any reason we fall into the hands of another wrong leader, this country is going to implode. That's the only thing that is going to happen. Because with millions of undergraduates at home for over 6 months, with children out of school because schools across northwest, northeast, and some parts of north central are closed down, with children in some parts of the south at home because the the teachers have not been paid. There are more people on the streets. There are more people who are frustrated, who are angry, who cannot tell where the next meal is going to come from. There are more people who have lost their livelihood, whose parents and guardians and providers are unable to provide for anymore. So crime rates are going up. Everything is going up. The inflation is at the worst level ever. Nigeria being one of the top oil producing countries in the world at the time that oil prices have gone up, is suffering, worse than countries who lack any resources at all. So things are pretty bad, and that's manifesting in the number of people leaving the country. In the month of August, a lot of Nigerians have left. I think I have like three friends who should have left. One to Germany, uh, one should be in the US already. There's another who should also be in the US. So I'm not really checking to see who made it eventually and who changed their minds. But like these are people who have like solid plans. They have their admission, they have their papers, everything is ready. And then there are tons of other persons who have their exit strategy ready. So, the best minds are leaving, the best hands are leaving. The country is on the brinks, more or less, and people are ready to fight for the future they want. Not just talk this time, but people are ready to to get punching. Like like the mom and the dad. I'm sure things continue that way in that home. It's possible that on election day they won't let that man leave the house.
From your explanation, and it appeared that there are already a lot of apostles out there that are fighting for this individual who are fighting to. I have a journalist friend in Vatican. I interview him quite often about African politics. Sometimes he says that African politicians are fighting to become the cook in their
Hmm.
country, that each of them is say, I'm going to be the best cook. What the only thing they want is just to take the position so that they can be cooking, for the in pretense for the people, but they're cooking for themselves. In this case now in Nigeria, there are these individuals who are proposing to be the best. What are
Hmm.
they proposing to the people as a solution to the problem of the country?
I would say it's pretty clear, what all the candidates stand for. Because then I think there are about 18 presidential candidates who would be contesting for that seat in this election. But out of this 18, three stand out. Some persons say there are four, but I don't see a fourth person. I only see three. I see the ruling party, the APC, and their candidate, who is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is popularly known as BAT. Hmm. Then we have yeah, the Jagaband of Lagos. And then we have the PDP, and that was the party that ruled Nigeria for 16 years and lost in 2015 to the APC, and have stayed out of power at the national level ever since. And they have, someone who's a top contender, uh, typically because he's been running for president since 1992. He's run in every election since 1992, and he's lost every election since 1992. And as terrible as it is, in 2003, when he was vice president, he would run against his principal and try to become president. So I would say Atiku Abubakar is pretty desperate, and he really wants to be president. And then we have Peter Obi, who was also a PDP member and only left the PDP a few months ago when he felt that the internal politics within the internal party politics was not going to be free and fair, and he left and they came to the Labour Party and have suddenly become like the sweetheart for a lot of Nigerians. Now, Peter Obi claims that if he becomes the president, he wants to move Nigeria from being a consuming nation to a producing nation, and that has become the hallmark of his campaign, from consumption to production. And he's very clear on how he's going to do that because, well, he's a numbers man. He's very educated, and so he has all the figures showing us how bad it has got, and showing us, how he can fix that. You know, so people are pretty convinced that he knows what he's talking about, right? Mr. Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. Well, all he says is his experience. He's been vice president before, and therefore he knows how to fix the country. But nobody is quite sure how he's going to do that. One of the strategies he's propounded is privatizing. Privatizing a lot of large public enterprises because he believes that the private sector can drive sustainable development in all sectors of our economy. Well, why that is plausible, it's believable when he says stuff like that. But then he's also privatized stuff as vice president, like the NEPA, right? The National Electrical Power Authority, that they eventually converted to the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, and then broke up the different distribution companies in all the regions, and then they sold it to private individuals, and that was supposed to fix the power problems in Nigeria. But long story short, it did not fix anything. As a matter of fact, it made the power situation worse. So um, and people argue that the principle is not wrong in itself, but the way that he administered the process was wrong, not the principle. And so we know that he's not totally wrong in what he's saying, but there is no evidence whatsoever that he can deliver on those promises successfully, because the other times he's tried it, it was a massive failure. He was the person who privatized Nitel. So we used to have this company, Nitel. That was our telephone company. As a kid, we had landlines, and those were. And when the telecoms came, they were going to privatize Nitel so that Nitel could go digital and would become, uh, uh, a major competitor against the other telecoms that were coming from outside of Nigeria. But after he sold Nitel, he died. That one is dead and buried. There is nothing left of Nitel in Nigeria now, and young people in Nigeria today have no idea we ever had such a company. So we we've seen, and then these were not the only things they privatized. Everything that Atiku Abubakar privatized as VP, they didn't survive. Now, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a very interesting man, because then they claim so many great things for him. The Jagaban of Lagos, this dude is super rich, but then there are indications that he has a criminal past. And okay, that's being mild. There are indications that he's still a criminal. He had a criminal past, became a politician, cleaned up a little. But then the way he's operated in Lagos and across Southwest has always had that mafia feel, because people who oppose him openly do not live long enough to tell the stories of what they've experienced. Who oppose the bats usually die, and he's very notorious for running a very closed system where he anoints people who would run different offices, and then he controls the finances. And the tax system in Lagos is still controlled by him, and he left office in 2007. So for a man like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's milked Lagos State, and he literally tries to control who becomes governor in all of Southwest. That in 2015, he had bullion vans in his home that had come to deliver money for elections. And this happened in broad daylight, was captured by all sorts of, people captured these things with camera phones. And I think there was even a drone shot of the bullion vans going into his home. And he was never prosecuted for money laundering. He was never charged, and he's like above the law. He's that kind of person. So he claimed to have been instrumental to the massive development that Lagos State enjoys till today. And some persons buy into that, but personally, I think it's a lie because Lagos, up until 1990, up until I think 1993, was the federal capital of Nigeria. So that was the seat of power. The president of the country lived in Lagos.
To be a great content creator in today's fast changing economy, you need one thing: storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful instrument to leverage either for personal use or for your business success. This is why this training class, Storytelling for Content Creator and Digital Entrepreneurs, was created. It is designed to help you leverage the power of storytelling so you can stand out from the crowd and earn more in your business. Come to obehi-1.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skill to earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. You need the power of storytelling to stand out in the competition. So let's explore it together. See you in the class.
That was where all the federal ministries were. That was where all the embassies were. That was where everything that had a name, that had recognition, was located. So Lagos was bound to be more developed than every other state. And here we have Bola Ahmed Tinubu claiming that he's the sole responsible for the development and the beauty we have in Lagos, which some of us fail to see. Lagos is a city I can't live in. I hate Lagos. I've been there so many times, but I'm never comfortable at home in Lagos because it's too rowdy, it's too dirty, it's a lot of things I wouldn't want for myself. It's not a place I would want to raise a family. But and I think Lagos has been ranked as the second least livable city in the world, where we're only second to Damascus, and I think you know, and and we're placed. It's terrible, right? And that's his vision. He wants to convert all of Nigeria to Lagos. And personally, I don't think I'm interested in having my beautiful city of Enugu become another Lagos. So it's very clear what all the politicians claim they're going to do. But then it also makes it easy for people to decide who they want to vote for. Because then I have no doubts in my heart of hearts that I can't vote for Atiku or Tinubu or any other president. It has to be Peter Obi because he's the only one who seems to know what he's talking about, and he's the only one who's not afraid to engage. Because then we see him move. He's talking to people. He's meeting with stakeholders. He's meeting after meeting. He can be seen. He can be touched. You can ask him questions and expect that he's going to give some form of response. That's a person that is relatable, and that's someone that Nigerians feel comfortable casting their votes for. So we often challenge. I have personally challenged Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar to engage more. You know, Come out to the public, talk to people. Go to the airport. Don't fly in a private jet. Fly economy. Talk to regular people. You know, take a cab. Walk into the market without your security, and so that people can tell you what they pass through on a daily. And I know this story is becoming like a cliche now because everybody who seems to have been in Anambra State at some point, the governorship of Peter Obi must have met him at some point because there was 2 years, 2016 and 2017, maybe 18 months I spent in a university campus in Anambra State. It was a private school, but Peter Obi visited that school 2 times while he was governor, and he was not campaigning. He just came to have conversations with the students to find out the challenges they were having and how the government could help. And he would invite students to walk up to him, get on top of the bus, because then he came with this bus and he would stand on the bus and he would speak from there. And students would climb to the top of the bus and then they'll stand side by side with him and they'll ask him questions and he would respond. And that's the manner of man people be is. You know, and funny enough, back then, as younger people, we thought his voice was funny because he has this tiny voice and spoke like a woman. So we're like, oh my god, what sort of a man is this? But now I can look back and I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of president I'd like to have, a president I can talk to. And when you look at some of the more developed countries, the the president of the United States can be written. You know, there are portals through which you can write to him, and if your concerns are good, chances are you're going to get a feedback from him. He may not have written the letter himself, but chances are you're going to get a feedback. But I tried to reach the office of the vice president. There is no way to reach the office of the vice president of Nigeria. Of That's the Professor Yemi Osibanjo, as educated and as brilliant as he is. His office cannot be reached by email, by text message, by phone call, by anything. You can send a hard copy letter, say a prayer and hope that it gets there. But yes, we did send a letter and another, and we didn't get any feedback. And the vice president is a professor of law, right? And then imagine what happens when we have the likes of Atiku or Tinubu who feel entitled and feel it's their right to be there. And then, these people are not going to listen to us.
All right, let's talk a bit about Peter Obi because he seems to be having a lot of popularity now. Even among many Nigerians in the diaspora, his popularity is really going very wide.
Yeah.
Now, you did say that when he was the governor of Anambra State, before he started to campaign, you already see a kind of a demonstration of who he is now. So I want you to tell me more about him in terms of the background check that people might ask now. What did he do for Anambra State that we can actually point hand to? Okay, I already heard that, he has been able to save money, he didn't waste a lot of money. That is already a good thing, but I want to see how these things can be reflected in the life of the Anambra people. So share with me anything that we can talk of.
Okay, well, I think first I would say I'm not an Anambra indigene, even though, we're neighbors kind of, but I regret not having Peter Obi as my governor, right? Because as governor of Anambra State, he did quite a lot of work, but sometimes it's difficult to understand uh, how much work the person has done if you were not present at the time if things happened. But here's a bit of a background now. Anambra State was ruled by the PDP from 1999 to 2003, and the governor was Barrister Chumoke Fadinuju, right? Now, as a PDP governor, Fadinuju did next to nothing. Schools were on strike. He did not pay salaries. He did not pay pensions. As a matter of fact, he was Governor Badinuju who referred to pensioners as deadwood in his time and would have a bishop reject his Thanksgiving offering in church. and the bishop would say, "Governor, take this money and go back and pay." Now I know that played out again some months back when the governor of Cross River State went to give 6 million in the church, and the bishop rejected the offering. And when I saw the video, I was like, "Yeah, that happened in Anambra first under Governor Mbadinuju." Now, after after 4 years of ruling, the people of Anambra were fed up with the PDP and they were fed up with Mbadinuju, and they were not going to vote for him anymore. So after just one time in office, Mbadinuju would leave Anambra in shame and would never return to the political scene in Anambra. Now, something interesting happened. The election was won a man called Senator Chris Ngige, who eventually became the Minister for Labor and Productivity, that has mismanaged this ASU strike. He became the governor in 2003, and he he ran into problems. But then, while he was struggling, because then he had these political godfathers who were kidnapping him and who were destroying things. In fact, at the time they burnt down his house, they burnt down the governor's lodge in Anambra State. Anambra was more like in a war zone. But while all these were happening, while Chris Ngige was fighting with his political godfathers, Peter Obi was in court contesting the election results. So Obi did not win the election fair and square the first time. It was the court who installed him. So it took about a year before the court decided that Peter Obi actually won the elections and Chris Ngige was removed from office. And that's how Peter Obi, he wasn't a politician at the time. He had never contested for anything before. That was his first attempt at politics. So he was a first timer. He was relatively unknown, business guy, rich, but not known in the political space. So Obi won through the courts, and then he came in at a time when the schools were closed, at the time when Anambra was one of the worst schools in educational ranking in the country. At a time when there was not even a governor's lodge in Anambra State. And so he started the process of rebuilding the state and reuniting the people. And remember that their predecessor, Mbadinuju, was not able to pay salaries because he claimed Anambra was too poor and did not have enough money to run the state. Now, Peter Obi would come in, he would save, and he would renegotiate contracts. He built so many roads. At the time he left office, Anambra State had the best road network in Nigeria. Anambra was the state with the best road network in Nigeria. At the time he left office, Anambra was the best in education, and uh, according to the UNESCO, Anambra State had achieved the SDG, that achieved the SDGs of education. At the time Obi left office, they were way ahead of every other state. Now we're talking of ASU strike. There is no government-owned university in Anambra State that is on strike currently. Because then when Obi came in, he got all the vice chancellors, brought in the lecturers and said, "Why are you guys going on strike?" They said, "The government is not paying us." And he encouraged them to leave ASU and made a deal with them and said, "Okay, how much do you guys want?" And they gave him an amount. He negotiated and then they agreed on a certain amount he would give the universities to support their development, and they would never go on strike. And since Obi left office, universities in Anambra State have never gone on strike, right? So and then while he was doing all this, improving the schools, improving the roads, he was very close to the people. You know, from the reports, he was on TV and on radio every week, and people could talk to him and they could ask him questions, and people could say, "Mr. Governor, see what's happening in my area. We want you to fix this," and he fixed all of that. At the time, the security situation in Anambra was a mess. Peter Obi fixed that. Because then there is no amount of policemen that can secure all the communities in Nigeria. It's only the community members who are going to be able to do that if they can organize themselves, get the right support from government, and they can set up their own community policing systems. When a stranger walks into your community, everybody knows. When there are strange faces, everybody knows. And that was what he did, you know. So he was growing businesses locally, because then Innocent, who is one of the largest car manufacturers in Africa, was just a budding company, and they were still experimenting with making cars. And OB would buy, hundreds of cars from Innocent and paid him in advance and said, "I want you to make SUVs." And as Innocent would report, even up to now, he still tells the story that initially he didn't want to build SUVs, he wanted to build small cars. P2B called him and said, "We need SUVs. Can you build SUVs?" And paid him in advance and said, "Make these cars for us." And people would say, "Oh, the cars are Nigerian made, they are inferior, they're not strong enough, and all that." But people didn't. He believed in made in Anambra products, and would patronize Innocent, and he would make him become one of the foremost car manufacturing companies in Africa. So that's the kind of man Toby is. He's someone who combats the things he touches to gold. He has that effect. And people who have had a chance to interact with him, work with him, have always come out better. There is not a single aspect of the economy or of governance of the life of the people that P2B has made contact with that has remained the same. Everything he's touched changed and became better. And this is why it's so easy to support him, because one, you're not going to find any scandal. There are no scandals against P2B. People try to make things up and they say, maybe he invested in family business or maybe, but then that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, as governor of the state, he invested in so many different businesses and sectors for the states. He invested in a brewery, he invested in a fertilizer making plant, he invested in different stocks, he invested in different banks, he invested locally and internationally. And how do we think that the man who is a billionaire, at the time he became governor of Anambra State, he was already a billionaire based abroad and was on the board of two banks at the time. So how do we think he wouldn't know the good businesses? And then why would he not have personal investments in good businesses? He already had those investments, and then would he deny the people of Anambra an opportunity to make money simply because he already has shares in those businesses?
No. You said something very important, Michael. I want you to add to that. The fact that
Yeah,
he patronized Inosun Car. I remember I've did a couple of interviews here where I've specifically
yeah,
asked some people, why is it that in Nigeria, all the Nigerian police are not using Inosun Car? Because since we, Nigeria, can produce a car, why is it that is not the official car in Nigeria, just like they will do in the United States? Say, okay, we're the one that, it become, apart from the fact that we can make Inosun rich and make a lot of great job for the people, it become also something of a national pride that this is made in Nigerian car. So tell me more about that. He decided to patronize Inosuka. Only he, or did also other governors in the region did similar thing? I wanted to expand on that.
well, I would say that uh, P2B believed a lot in Nigerian-made products, and he gave a lot of support, to Innocent. Now, there have also been some other governors who have tried to also purchase Innocent vehicles, but it's never good enough. And the reason I think that is, like in my state, the governor of Enugu State at some point bought, I think, 100 vehicles from Innocent and gave them to the police. But he didn't buy one for himself. He still rides, he still rides Prado jeeps, and his car park is full of Prado jeeps. That's what he goes around in. But then Innocent has a plant in Enugu, where he makes cars. In fact, he has an institution in Enugu where he trains young people in how to make cars. He has He's a plastic company here in Enugu, and we don't see that as an opportunity, right? I know Innocent and the Nigerian Army have also been in some form of partnership, and Innocent has provided vehicles to the Nigerian Army, and have also serviced planes and helicopters for the Nigerian Air Force. But we don't have that nationwide adoption of this enterprise. We lack this, this sense of national pride, for very basic reasons. Because Innocent is an Igbo man, and so people are not too pumped up about support. And I think that's one thing that is also playing out in Obi candidacy, because everybody is an Igbo man. So nobody wants to support an Igbo man. Nobody wants, and because Igbo people are perceived to be domineering and to want to hold on to power and all those kinds of stuff. So, uh, well, I know I've heard people say those things because they've said them to me because I'm an Igbo man myself. But I think when we have a man like Obi become president, we're going to have that change. Because beyond supporting Innocent, we've seen Peter Obi support a lot of Nigerian businesses. The life breweries was nearly dead at the time Obi came, but then they brought it back to life, and today it's one of the top contending brands in Nigeria, right? We've had him support businesses in the north, virtually everywhere across the country. He supported the army, supported everyone because he's someone who believes in the unity of this country, and I really can't say the same for some of these other candidates. In fact, let me tell you something funny I heard. One of these PDP guys was in a TV program, and he said, we should tell Obi to step down for Atiku. Let's have Atiku run and win. And besides, Atiku is one of us. One of his wives is an Igbo woman. Therefore, he's one of us. And I'm like, what? So if Obi marries an Hausa woman now, then all of a sudden he becomes an Hausa man. Or maybe the Jagaban can also take a second wife, can come and marry an Anambra woman, and then we can accept him as, So this tribalism of a thing is a big problem as we have it. Because we've had 1, 2 bills that are promoting local content, but then none of those bills have said the president should ride in a Nigerian-made car. None of those bills have said the National Assembly should ride in Nigerian-made cars. We have people in the National Assembly buying cars worth 50 million for one vehicle per person, and then to think that there are 109 people in the Nigerian Senate and 360 of them in the House of Representatives, and then they are spending 50 million per head per car, and then they are getting
And
more
they,
than
and they will allow ASU to remain on strike. Nobody want to pay that bill.
the Nigerian government earlier this month bought 10 SUVs for the Nigerian government, and they said they were doing that to boost security. Even though I was seeing in some other reports that the Nigerian government denied receiving any cars, but the funds have been allocated and spent. So, uh, there is a lot happening. The Nigerian government is building a rail line to Maradi in Niger Republic when we don't have rail lines connecting south, in fact connecting all the 6 geopolitical zones to the center. But we're building rail lines to another country, and you begin to wonder, like, what are our priorities right now? So sometimes we choose tribal cohesion above national interest, and I think that is the biggest problem we have. When we're looking at local businesses, we're looking at people like Enos, and a man like Obi would support any business. He would invest anywhere money can be made. He's a businessman. He's going to invest wherever money can be made, and then everybody benefits and everybody's happy at the end of the day. I can't say the same for some of the other candidate. I can say that for the Jagaband outside of Southwest, the Jagaband has nothing anywhere else. And then Atiku has a university in his home state, but then a lot of his businesses are in the north or abroad. He has, he does not have that national touch. And man, it's depressing talking about the political space in Nigeria because uh, we've just been recycling the same old people, and that's why I said at the beginning that we're like a people repeating the same things and expecting different results. Things are not going to change unless the Nigerian people are willing to remove this old system and install something new, a new way of politicking, a new way of campaigning. And then we want to see people who are doing things locally because then I want to create a successful business in Nigeria. Yeah, I don't have to travel to America to become a successful businessman. Nigerians should be able to become successful businessmen at home and scale across Africa. We should be dominating the African markets. We should be taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. We should be making a lot of money at home, but no, we can't do that until we run away from this country, go elsewhere, and then start one, and then build a business and scale. And that's a real shame. So people are really looking out to support candidates who are going to help us build local economies, who are going to help us build our communities. And I think anyone who's not willing to go local should go away.
All right. Now, in terms of the proposal from these different, okay, like you said, there are up to 18 contestants for the as president, but only three of them can actually be singled out because of the wave that they are making. And of course, that is depends on how the people are reacting to them. Of course, it's the people that count at the end of the day. Now, in terms of these three people, apart from the fact that, okay, that is one thing that I remember of Bola Tinubu for the election. The speech is a very important one. In fact, it remained in my mind. I think it should remain in the mind of many Nigerians. Is that he's going to give you a wa. Vote for me, I will give you a wa, idodo. Somebody showed it to me, and I was laughing. I said, this should be an insult to the Nigerian people. That I, a Nigerian, should vote for you to represent me so that you will give me a wa and idodo.
Yeah, it's a
It's
shame.
an insult.
And I think that's why he's afraid of coming out to speak in the public. We've heard the Jagaban talk a number of times, and it's been disappointing each time he opens his mouth because he has nothing brilliant, and there is nothing brilliant he's saying at all. Saying he wants to recruit 50 million youths in the army so they can go and fight Boko Haram. Like, are you kidding me? We're 200 million. You want one quarter of your national population in the army. Does he understand what that means? You have 50 million youth in the army. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. You have to house them.
But
Does
which
he?
country in the world even have 50 million army? The US doesn't even have that.
Oh my goodness. See, the thing is, I think the misconception is thinking that the more soldiers you have, the quicker you can end insurgency in your country. It doesn't work that way. You know, with the right technology, we can end Boko Haram within a short period of time, in a matter of 3 months. Boko Haram can be a thing of the past if the right technology is deployed. Imagine what drone strikes can achieve within a space of 2 weeks. Imagine having a fantastic geolocation system. Imagine having satellites that we can use, and then we can look at that whatever they call that forest, the Zambisa forest. We can smoke those people out and wipe them all the way. And we have someone trying to become Nigeria's president, and he can come and say, I'm not bothered about the exchange rates, because your salary is going to be in naira, your lunch will not be imported, the farmer will make more money, uh, and you eat cassava gari ewa. What? What? Like, is this? Is this what we signed up for? Is this the level we're operating at? Like, it's insulting to the intelligence of the Nigerian youth, to say the least, that we can sit down and listen to this people. Like Baba Jagaban, is that what you eat? Do you eat a gari, agbado ewa? Is that what you eat every day? You know, maybe.
It's insulting.
Right. Is that what he eats every day? Is that how he survived this long? Well, he's a young man. He claims he's just 69. Oh, so he just turned 70. Even though the man is probably 90, you know, but it's fine if he claims to be 70, right? But if Gary Agbadoewa is what he's been eating and he's this sick, then there is definitely something wrong with the food. You know, there is no strategic thinking behind the campaigning. There is no intelligence behind the speeches that he makes, and we can't blame the man when he can, because obviously he can't hold paper. We've seen him try. We've seen him try to read a speech from a piece of paper, and his hands were shaking like leaves in the wind. So
No, I think this one is an insult someone bring on himself.
yeah,
Because nobody is saying bring elderly people to become president. We say bring young people who can run.
yeah,
Nigeria is a country that have a lot of crises. We don't need people that are on their wheelchair. It's not like it just happened by mistake. This is a political party that have made all the calculation and they decided to choose this particular individual based on their intel, based on their intelligence, based on all the millions of money that they are spending to understand what is on ground. So they must know what they are doing. They pick this particular one because it's the best that they can pick. So he should read. He should be able to give a speech. I'm sorry, but you are saying you are the best that Nigeria can produce. So you need to be the best. Come out and be the best that Nigeria can produce. You can't read? I don't know. You do it. You are going to have to do it anyway because this is what the party is telling Nigeria. For all the country, for all the people that are living in this country, this is the best man for the time. So he need to live up to the expectation. Even though that he's actually an old man, he's supposed to be relaxing at home. That is what old people do. You relax at home.
well, I wish he can do that. And honestly, if the wife of Bola Ahmed Tinubu or any of the children get to hear this, they should encourage the man to rest. He has no place in trying to become Nigeria's president at this time. He's a bit too old. He's too frail. The challenges of this country will kill him before any other thing. And I know for a lot of them, winning the election is easy compared to actually doing the job. And I think the only thing that is worse than becoming a president is having history remember you as one of the worst presidents the country ever had.
I want to ask you something related to energy because this is very important also for us, whether in terms of business, as a country, in our pride, everything that happens in the country require energy.
The Nigerian people, unfortunately, have become very used to not having power.
We believe that everyone has a story to share. We believe in the power of storytelling in today's digital economy. Yes, we believe that our audience need to be touched at the level of emotion so we can better engage. What about you? Do you believe in storytelling as much as we do? Do you want to reach the hearts and minds of your audience? Then join us in our online training class, Storytelling for Content Creators and Digital Entrepreneurs. Come to obehi1food.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skills so you can earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. Storytelling is a powerful instrument at our disposal. Let's explore it together. See you in the class.
And that's, I think, is a very sad situation because we've come to that level of, I think I should call that mediocrity. We are operating at a level of mediocrity where we don't even understand the impact that living under these conditions can have on our livelihood, on our quality of life, on our productivity, at all levels. And we've come to normalize situations where the government isn't doing enough, the power companies are not doing enough, and the people are unable to demand for anything. And from a policy perspective, there is actually a limit to what we can do to help ourselves out of the situation. So it's just horrible. And again, the government does not seem to care. We've seen the national grid collapse up to 16 times this year alone. And 2 weeks ago, the national grid was shut down by the power workers because at the time they felt like, okay, we're not getting paid enough, we're owed a lot of money, and we're done. And they made a video of their staff shutting down the national grid and plunging the whole country in darkness, including Aso Rock, the presidential villa, including all the governors' lodges. In like the whole the whole country was in darkness for a night, and then the government had to go negotiate. So, okay, please, can you turn the powers back on? Maybe paid some money and all that, and then they had the power restored. But that's the condition we're in, and the government has spent billions of dollars from 1999 to date trying to fix the power sector. But obviously, we've not had any administration that has shown adequate commitment or that has produced any results whatsoever that have fixed the power sector. And that is actually just so sad. Up until now, in this age and time, when power is restored, you're still going to hear young people shout, "Yay, up NEPA!" Then you're going to see people rushing home to go and plug in their phones and devices because you can't tell how long the power is going to stay on. You can't tell, if you'd be able to complete a task before you lose power again. So it's situations like this that make it difficult for businesses to thrive. We've seen Nigeria miss out on opportunities. All of the big brands have snubbed Nigeria, and they're going to set up in Ghana. They're going to set up in South Africa, but nobody seems to want to come here, and they all cite the same issues. You can't have big tech companies. You can't have Google come to Nigeria and run on generators. That's not just sustainable. You can't have a Twitter come to Nigeria and then they are running on generators. So like it's silly, really. It's very silly. So nobody wants to do business in Nigeria because the cost of production is going to kill you. It's going to make your production competitive. The Manufacturing Association of Nigeria is barely non-existent because all of the big corporations that run on electricity to do large-scale production and leaving the country, people would rather go to China and produce at very cheap rates. Import, people can go to China where raw materials are imported. Now, in Nigeria, we have most of the raw materials we need for production, but then China imports the raw materials. They will process them there. They will pay all their bills. Then they'll export those things to Nigeria, and the importers will pay import duties and still be more profitable than local businesses.
What do you mean more profitable? They say it's more profitable. It's actually, how is that more profitable? I didn't get that.
Okay, yeah. So let's use tin tomatoes for example, right? People go to China where they import tomatoes and they import tin. So in China, they're going to make the tin, they're going to make the tomatoes, and they are going to pack them in containers and send them to Nigeria. And those Chinese-made tin tomatoes will sell cheaper than tin tomatoes made in Nigeria. Now, we mine tin in Nigeria. We have the raw materials and we can mine tin in Nigeria. But then we'll have to go and process the cans elsewhere because we don't have power. And then no large company wants to come and manufacture cans running on generators. Nobody wants to do that. So, and then they have to, and then we grow tomatoes in Nigeria. So it's easy to imagine that it would be easier for us to make tin tomatoes, made in Nigeria tin tomatoes and sell them locally and make more money than the ones abroad. But no, cost of production. And then imagine harvesting enough tomatoes that you're going to use to make your canned tomatoes. Where are you going to save them? Where are you going to store them? How are you going to preserve them? You don't have electricity. You're going to operate cold rooms indefinitely, run by generating sets for as long as it takes to process all the tomatoes that come into your plant, and then you're going to have to keep your machines running day in and day out. At the time, I used to imagine that it didn't matter if one ran on generators or not until I actually gave it a try. You know, if I buy energy worth 5,000 naira, and let's say we have constant power supply, I could use it for, maybe 3 weeks. Well, technically, because I don't have any heavy machinery or equipment that I'm running in my home, just TV fan, TVs, fan, fridge, nothing big, nothing heavy. I don't have like a lot of air conditioners and all those heavy stuff that consume a lot of power. So um, I would probably be fine, you know. And then if we don't have constant power supply, I could actually, run my 5,000 naira worth of power for nearly a month. But you see, if I bought 5,000 naira worth of fuel, I would burn that in 3 days. That's all it's going to take, 3 days. So and then this is just a small house with very minimal electricity consumption, and that's why a lot of the big organizations leave. Look at telecoms, what we spend, or look at DSTV. What we spend for TV in Nigeria is 8 times more than what South Africans spend on the same packages. And you begin to wonder, like, what's going on here? Why is it more expensive for Nigerians to watch TV than it is for South Africans? Why is it more expensive for Nigerians to access the internet or to recharge their phones than you have in other countries that are supplied by the same company, the same MTN? And we had some Nigerians go to make this inquiry, and they said, well, the Nigerian factor. That's what they call it now. It's called the Nigerian factor. And then lately, we've seen what's happening with the airlines that are leaving the country, because it's getting to a point when cost of operations are very high. They are hardly profitable, and now they can't even take out the mega profits that they're making in Nigeria because the government is restricting the ability to take home their money. So, it's all a big mess, right? And that's one of the things the PDP candidate has been accused of. They said, "Guy, you've been in power. You guys don't fix electricity." In fact, he had the electricity thingy to fix, and he messed it up. And they said he did that because he imports mechanical generators. Well, he's denied that claim over and over again. He said, I don't own mechanical generators, I don't import generators, but somehow the originators of that claim kind of feel strongly and convinced about it. And so they keep bringing it up all the time that, no, I think it owns mechanical generators. And that's why uh, importation of generators can be banned. That's why the power sector cannot improve.
But we kind of a leader sacrifice the people that they come to represent for business because he holds a generator, a company that import generator. It will throw the entire country into darkness. For that, they will not do that. I'm not even able to understand the logic. People feel it is normal. This is not normal.
Welcome to Nigeria. That's our reality. We have politicians who care very little about the people, and as far as they're concerned, all they really want is their own personal benefits. They don't care about the people. They don't care about us. They don't care about our interests. And all that the politicians want is to make more money for themselves and for the people for whom they work, and not necessarily to improve the lives of the people. It would seem as if we never came out of colonization, as if we never came out of the slave trade. That's what it looks like, because the efforts of the government seem to purposefully keep us enslaved, to keep our people poor and unable to assert their rights, to keep our people uneducated, to and that's the only way this we celebrate mediocrity in Nigeria. We crave mediocrity, because then why else would we have grown men and women do things children won't even do, just so that they can get some money from these politicians. You should see them sing and dance and clap and jump up and down, then dust themselves and reinforce their failure, because that's what we're doing. We're reinforcing failure. The PDP failed for 8 years, and then we give them for 8 more years, to fail some more. Now the APC has come, they failed in their first 4 years, and we gave them 4 more years to continue failing. And now they, at the end of their failure, they are producing new candidates who are saying, yes, we're coming to continue the good work of the president. Like, how is the work of the president good if we're in the condition we're in? We're worse than we ever were. We're in a situation that, in fact, now we're like people in the pit that are trying to dig themselves out. That's what we're doing. We're trying to dig ourselves out of a ditch. But what's happening is we're making the ditch wider and getting ourselves deeper and deeper on the inside. Because, man, we're already down. We need to stop digging. We need to be climbing. So our leaders are more interested in their personal interests than they are in the interests of the people. And I really hope that the Nigerian people can see through all of this, and stop singing. We need to stop singing. We need to stop dancing, and we need to start working for the nation we want to see. But if we're hoping that leaders will emerge who would actually prioritize our interests, I think that would be like the greatest blunder, of all. Because these people I'm seeing, I don't think they care about Nigerians, and I think we should fight them.
And maybe the worst part of it is that many Nigerians don't know that these politicians don't care about them. Because if they know that they don't care about them, they just need to do the right thing, in that they look for the candidate that really truly represent them, and then stand by those ones instead of those that want to give them money. Because now the logic is simple to be understood. If one person decides to be sharing money to the millions of people in Nigeria, where is the person getting the money from? If the person gives you money because of that, you vote for him to become your leader, at least for the next 4 years, don't you think that he's going to get the money back somehow? So I think these are simple calculations that we need to make. I know it's a sacrifice that we need to make, but we need to understand that we are participating in the situation. For us to remain slave, we need to participate somehow. Otherwise, you can decide to end it when you want.
And there is this very silly thing I've heard so much, and people have tweeted about it and have talked about it openly on social media, and they said, we know this guy is a bad candidate, but he's our brother, so we have to vote for him anyway. Because I know I talked a bit about tribalism a while back, but I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have. People know, they know the candidates who are going to be good to them. They know the candidates who are going to be bad to them, but somehow they tend to want to choose the one who prays like them, or the one who comes from the same place as them, because there is this miseducation that has happened in Nigeria since the Biafran War, where people believe that people from other tribes are their mortal enemies, and they must do everything in their power not to support them. Even if Even if somebody from a different tribes means well for you, you should kill them, or you should put them at a disadvantage, or find a way to discredit them rather than cooperate with them, even if it's for your own good. And I think that's also one of the reasons that the political class don't seem to be interested in improving education in Nigeria, because when people are educated and exposed, you know, there are chances that some of them will begin to see through the lies. They'll become more critical. They'll ask questions, and they will no longer swallow whatever is given to them hook, line, and sinker, as we have in many sectors. But when people are uneducated, they lack that deep critical thinking abilities, and they are unable to raise the right questions and to explore, to explore what is in their best interest, so that this vegetative lifestyle that many uneducated Nigerians live can come to an end. Then when I say vegetative lifestyle, they're more like grass. Ah, it's raining. Oh, God is watering us. Oh, thank God. There's no rain. Oh, God has chosen not to water us. Okay, that's fine. And then they are resolved to accept whatever comes their way. And they don't want anything. They don't desire anything. They don't. Somebody died, say, oh, God bring, God don't take. Hey, okay, he don't die, no problem. You
Like
know,
little children, like little infants.
yes, that minimum. You see very little efforts to want to improve your own life, because somehow they have not learned that you can actually demand for a better life than what you have. They've not realized that you can choose a better life than what's been handed to you. That you can move away from the circumstances that are not benefiting you, and go into places or circumstances that will enable you to become the best version of yourself. That you can stand up in a crowd, raise your head and ask a question and demand an answer. That you are a citizen of the country, and that nobody in this country is more Nigerian than the other. That the Almajiri on the street is not less Nigerian than the president, or than Aliko Dangote, or than any other person. But that in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the constitution, we all stand shoulder to shoulder, equal. And that's why every Nigerian has a vote. But no, they don't understand that. They don't know that. They don't even know the meaning of the voters' cards they bear. They don't understand the power that the electoral process have. And that's why the miseducation that is coming from the political class, is disheartening when they come and say, this party cannot win. They don't have structure. This party cannot win. They don't have experience. These people on social media, they are making noise. That's not the way. People don't understand how politics work. We'll show you the real politics. No, there is no real politics. Real politics is what we're playing. And real politics is when we go to the ballot and we cast our votes. And when people realize that every Nigerian has one vote, P2B has only one card, Jagaban has only one card, and can only vote for one person. So irrespective of what anybody says, collectively, young people can decide who they want to install in this country. And will succeed because we have the numbers. We're more vibrant. Whatever they bring, we can take it and we can give them back. Fire for fire. so so I think it's a really good it's a really good time for what we're doing now, which is trying to educate people online and offline. There are people who are going out into the communities, going out in the streets. Everywhere I go, there's a conversation about the elections, because people are not staying on the sidelines anymore. And the mandate is simple. Everybody in Nigeria needs to hear this good news. You have power, and it's in your votes. And when you cast it, realize that will determine your future for the next 4 years. And well, we'll see how that goes.
I wanted to ask you relating to the power generation. We understand that the Nigerian power generation is under the federal government, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What would it be, for example, I'm just asking your opinion, if every state in the country could have it at their own disposal to generate power if they don't want to be in the dark? Those who want to be in the dark, they can decide to be in the dark. But those who do not want to be in the dark, they can decide to generate electricity. Do you know that? I say this often, no, that Like this, the color of our skin is like this because of too much energy. So in Africa, it doesn't make sense that we should be in the dark.
Mm.
So why can't we find a solution to it? There is not only one solution to the Nigeria power problem. There can be a variety of solutions. What if maybe, for example, the federal government can decide to take this burden away from them and put it on the state and say, okay, go ahead and generate your electricity. Of course, you make money from it. They pay tax to the federal government. What is your take on that?
Well, I think that the states are lazy, uh, because there are many ways around fixing the power problem, like you said. Now, first, Nigeria is a federation. That's what the constitution says. And that implies that all of the states are federating units and have should have laws that run concurrently with that of the federal government. Now, the way this plays out, or the way it should play out, is that anything you can have at the federal level, you can also have at the state level. There are high courts, there are federal high courts, there are state high courts. There are, but then uh, we have a little problem, and that is what they call the exclusive list. Now, the federal government have enlisted certain things in what they call the exclusive list. Now, those things are within the control of the federal government and the federal government alone, like security, so that the Nigerian army, the police, all the policing agencies are federal government agencies, and states are not allowed to have state police, right? And power happens to be one of those things in the exclusive list, kind of. And that, I think, uh, the legislators can fix, because then the governors can come together, bring in the legislators, and demand that they go and they pull power out of the exclusive list. And if they are able to do that successfully, what happens is anybody should would be free to generate their own power. But that's like if we want to like go the hard way. There are easier ways around it. Now, individuals can generate power, states can generate power, businesses can generate power on the condition that their power generation capacity don't hit 1 megawatt. Because then from the law, once you generate up to 1 megawatt, then it needs to pass into the national grid. So what governors can do is split up their states into zones. In fact, the whole of Nigeria is using less than 6 megawatts currently. So it's shameful, yeah. The we're using we're using less than 6 megawatts currently, and what that means is that imagine if all 37 states commit to creating, you know, point 0.9 megawatts. In fact, zero point 0.5 megawatts would have at zero point 0.5 megawatts, we're going to have 16 megawatts of electricity coming out of the states outside of what we have in the national grid. That is more than enough, compared to what we have now. So the states are lazy. They don't want to commit resources to doing that. And we have so many different alternatives. Nigeria is depending so heavily on hydroelectricity. But then there are countries that use windmills. We have we have too much air, we have too many mountains. We have too much land. We could use windmills if we wanted. And then we have loads of water bodies. Countries put windmills on water bodies, they put windmills in the deserts. And Nigeria has too much desert. So I don't understand why we can't use windmills. You go to East Africa, they don't even use windmills, or and they don't do hydroelectricity because they don't have a lot of water bodies. They do geothermal. Man, we have too much land. Drill this thing to the core of the earth. Let's take out that heat. It's free. To take out the heat, convert it to electricity. And then
What
many,
about the solar?
you know, like I didn't want to talk about solar, because then they'll say, "Hey, it's going to take up a lot of space, to put in the farm." But guys, like there are so many alternatives for us in Nigeria. We have no excuse to be in the dark. You go to our neighboring Ghana, You go to Benin Republic, they have power all the time. I was in Ghana in May, they have power all the time. Uh, I, I don't want to talk about leaving Africa. There are lots of. I have a friend who left Nigeria to go work in Uganda, and he told me, "Guy, we have power all the time." So I don't understand why in Nigeria we can't have constant electricity. That beats.
And I know why. The why is that Nigerian people are not demanding for it. Because, you get what you ask for.
Yeah,
As long as you don't ask for it, we are just asking the politician, the Nigerian government to respond to this question based on their benevolence.
yeah,
And it's never going to happen.
yeah.
If they demand for it, then they will do it. Because if they don't do it, they will leave Aso Rock.
I don't like. I don't see why president can't come up with can't come up with a policy and say, man, I want all the states to partner with me. Everybody work with me here. Let's fix this power problem in 6 months. We don't need to have a national grid. Let every state take care of their stuff. Let private companies, you know, take up the stuff in different But I see it's what you said. The people are not demanding. That's a culture of mediocrity. Looks like it has come to stay because people don't even know what their rights are as Nigerians. And then if we held our local governments responsible, if we held the federal governments responsible, and then as a matter of fact, we made that a condition we're like, man, you get in there, 1 year we don't have constant power supply. That's it for you. You're not going back. So that nobody will come and build one bridge in 8 years, like the current government has done. They spent 8 years building one bridge. And that's actually a false statement because the previous administration started building the bridge. They met at the time this administration came in 7 years ago. The bridge had already started being built. So they did not start it from the scratch. And they are about to complete 8 years, and the bridge has not been commissioned. They're still working on the bridge. And then they'll leave office after 8 years and they say, we built one bridge for you. Oh, took 8 years to build just one bridge, one. And then people are praising them online. Young people. Oh, they built a bridge for us. No other administration has built bridges. All of you are mad. All of us, it looks like we're all crazy. And the bridge is not even free. This bridge is a product of public-private partnership, which implies that there are going to be toll gates on the bridge. Every time you drive across the bridge, you're going to pay some money. So what are we celebrating? And why is it taking them 8 years to build a bridge that is going to be a public-private partnership? So you see, it's just the government trying to elongate the period of suffering so that people don't get comfortable demanding for their rights. We grow they grow comfortable, making things difficult for us so that we can enjoy the tidbits that they throw away from time to time, rather than demand for the good life that we totally deserve. That's why we're too religious here. You go out now, there are people somewhere praying, shouting and demanding a good life in the spiritual realm. When you don't even know who your counselor is, you don't know who your local government chairman is. You can't walk up to your governor and demand what you want. You can't tweet. You can't write a post on Facebook because you're afraid that they're going to come for you.
But are they really coming for the people if they ask something? In Nigeria, we have come to accept that we are not citizens. We are just a slave to the people. They do whatever they like. Of course, this is also a product of years of violence. We see the other day, I think, no, it was yesterday actually, I was talking to my wife, that they were doing a kind of 100 years of anniversary of the aeronautic here in Italy. So they were doing, the flying in the air, doing all sort of parade and celebration. We see all the military that are, the effort that are doing, we say, why would the Italians not be proud of their military doing this? Then I said, think back now, what we remember most time, what the military do, where they come to the street, they pick somebody, they flog, they tell the person, roll inside the mud. The person will be rolling inside the mud. How can you do this to a human being? And you want me to be proud of you? You see, so this is years of inculcating violence and horror into the mind of the people. Until the time, the people no longer understand that these people, the army, the police, are working for them. They look at them as their master. Sir, sir, sir. That is what we are saying, because it has been sold into our mind. Now to tell the people now that turn the table around, you are the master, they are your servant, it's becoming very difficult for Nigerians.
Well, of course, when you understand the history of our leadership and the many years we spent under military rule, I think from 1966 till let's say 1998, and then maybe you take out 2 or 3 years when Shehu Shagari and when Shehu Shagari was president. Well, not up to 3 years, but well, maybe we can give maybe 2 years or give or take. That's a long time to have been. We've had more time under military rule in Nigeria than we've had under civilian rule. From 1999 till now, it's about 23 years. Then maybe plus 6 years. So we're still under 30 years of democracy, right? Compared,
A military regime.
yeah, yes. So we've done a little over 30 years of military rule and about 30 years of civilian rule. So a lot of the people who are living now, a lot of the grown-ups who are in Nigeria now remember a time when the military was in power. It's maybe it's probably like the young people now, people who were born after 99, who did not know what it was like to live under a military regime. But then, honestly, up until now, we've still had that military type leadership at the federal level, and maybe that will eventually change if uh, if we elect the right person. Because a man like Peter B would be someone who was never a part of military government at any time. Tinubu has always been around. He's worked in Nigeria under the military regime. He was a senator briefly under the military regime and all that stuff. So Atiku has always been a politician and has been very close to the military people. He was vice president to a former military general for 8 years. So but a lot of those people still operate in the old order, and that explains why they have the mindset they have and why they are coming in with the kind of agenda they are coming in with. They're just coming to do their own thing. They don't care about the people or what the people say. That's the military style leadership. But maybe in time, all that is going to change, and we're going to transition into a system of governance where we have leaders who have a human face and who listen and who genuinely care about the best interest of the people that they are leading. So I think it's a bit historic, but then I think they've not met a generation like the generation of young people we have in Nigeria now. Because then our parents were afraid to speak up, and that's why things got this bad. But then these young people who came out to protest and demand that SARS should end, and then we had a SARS ban and rebranded, and the people would continue to protest until a lot of the young people were shot. And that protest has continued in so many different ways, including uh, in the preparation for the elections next year. Because when the NSAS protest ended, the message was loud and clear, and people said, "Well, you think you can shoot and kill us? Next year we'll retire all of you." And that was the message, uh, literally. And people said that openly. He said, "Well, you think you can kill us? Next year, all of you are going home." And now the elections are upon us. And started right from the very beginning. The message to the PDP at the time was, "Give P2B the ticket to run, and we'll return you to Aso Rock." And then they thought it was a joke, and they played politics, and or they played games within their party, and they got Atiku out, and P2B left. And then, the young people say, Obi, we don't care where you go to. We don't care. Before, 3 months ago, the Labour Party was unknown. It was unknown. No one knew the Labour Party. They've not ruled any states. They've had nothing, you know. But then all of a sudden, Labour Party is like one of the top contending parties. And initially they said, oh, Labour Party, they'll fizzle out. They'll have 2,000 votes. And eventually I said, okay, he will not get 1 million votes. Now they're saying, he will not get 5 million votes. Because now the coming out, we're seeing the street walks that are happening state after state. It's happened in Nasarawa State, which is not central. It's happened in Calabar. It's happened in Onitsha. It's happened. So we've seen this. It's happened in Port Harcourt. So we've seen this in South South. It happened in Edo State. It's happened in South South. It's happened in Southeast. It's happened in North Central, and everywhere. The 1 million man march has happened. It's been massive. It was going to happen in Kaduna, but then the governor got the police to stop the. Initially, he said they won't have 200 people. That they can't get 200 people in Kaduna that will come out for the march. And when the day came,
Do you know that telling a story is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your audience? Do you know that the human brain processes story much more easily and quickly than facts and figure? Stories are a great way to engage your audience, get them interested in your products and services, and inspire them to take action. A good story will help you create more compelling content that can be shared on social media or through other channels. And it's not just about telling a compelling story, it's also about knowing how to tell it effectively. Now, do you want to better connect with your audience? Then join us on our online training class, Storytelling for Content Creators and Digital Entrepreneurs. Come to obehi-1food.com/storytelling and learn how to leverage your storytelling skill to earn more as a content creator and digital entrepreneur. Storytelling is a powerful way to connect with your audience, so let's explore it together. See you in the class.
they got the police to say that the march should not hold because of security, one thing. I said there should be schedule. And then there's a big one coming up in Lagos, Oktoberfest. So there is so much happening, and we're seeing a lot of support being galvanized around the candidates because he's the man that people want, is the person.
But what is actually the idea behind the 1 million man march? Why is it 1 million man march? What is the idea behind that name?
Okay, so it's a show of power. It's like what we have with North Korea. Sometimes when they feel that the South Koreans are becoming too close to America, they come to the border of North Korea or South Korea and they position their nuclear weapons. And then they drive through the street with their big cars and their big guns. And then they televise it globally to show the world that they are ready to fight. You know, same with what's happening with the US, Taiwan, and China. So you have a US Navy ships, sailing close to Taiwan. We've had a Nancy Pelosi visit Taiwan and all those kinds of stuff. Show our strength. We want to show our enemies that we're ready, because then they've undermined the youth for too long, and they have said that we don't have a structure, or P2B doesn't have a structure, and that he can't win without a structure. And when P2B was trending on Twitter every day, they said it was 4 people in a room that were trending P2B every. So now, what we've had now is people are coming out from different states. In fact, last Saturday, I think it happened in 3 states side by side, and in each state they were massive. So, for 2 reasons, people want to show, okay, we mean business, and we've made up our minds. It's P2B we want, but then there's also an awareness creation campaign, because then the march is not just movement through the streets. They're actually, talking to people in their shops. They're talking to people. They are creating awareness, letting people know, okay, man, this is the man we want. Guys, you have to join us. And when you have that number of persons coming out in one city to say, man, this is who we want, Is safe to say that uh, that notion a lot of Nigerians have had, that they can't vote for Obi because they think it would be a waste of votes. That's been the argument that the other parties have heard of, that to vote for Obi is to waste votes because he does not stand a chance. So rather than, even if you think Obi is a good candidate, vote for someone else who is more likely to win. And as stupid as this sounds, a lot of Nigerians believe it. They say, why vote for someone who cannot win? Let's vote for somebody who can actually win. Yeah, so we're showing people that we have the numbers, and we can actually win. So they need to rest easy, and then we're encouraging more persons to join. And in a lot of places where these works happen, you have young people going to clean up the city uh, as their contribution to the campaign. People are giving free haircuts. I've seen a free car wash. People are giving free health care,
That is
and
the beginning of a revolution, but for good.
yes, and then when you come in, the doctor is going to say, okay, well, we're going to treat you for free, but you have to vote for Obi. So, so people. And the interesting thing is, Obi is not directly involved in organizing or mobilizing people for these events. He sees it on social media the same way the rest of the world sees them. He doesn't know where it's going to happen, or okay, it's like the one that happened in Edo State, right? Last Saturday. It wasn't even announced. Like on social media, people didn't know it was going to happen. And then when there were millions of people, maybe at least a million or maybe more, out, because it was crazy. It was massive in those states, and that was
I
not
saw it. I saw it.
and that was not Benin City. That was not even Benin City. I was like, what's going on? I said, no, we don't use social media. We don't do flyer. We use town criers to circulate the information. And we're like, oh yeah, because normally other states like make flyers, but then when they know people want to come out, they don't do flyers. They just come out. I'm like, guys, what's good there? We don't do all those social media things. We use town crier. So people are there are people who have made stickers, who make materials. I've seen mosquito nets, I've seen books, I've seen all sorts of things, and people go into rural communities to sensitize people, to talk to them about the state of things in the nation, and tell them about what P2B is planning to do, and encourage them to vote for him. And it's been massive, and it's interesting because among the educated lots, we know what we've seen, and we know what we've heard. Now people are even translating the messages to different local languages, and they're going to these rural communities to circulate these messages so that people can hear. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the man. Hear what he's saying. The person you'd rather vote for, what has he told you he's going to do for you? So that people can compare and contrast and decide what is best for them. So it was, in fact, before the 1 million man march started, there were lots of miseducations about the obedience. The obedience are just four people. They just a few people. They're using social media to make noise. They are not real people. And then when people came out, they're like, okay, wait, they're actually real people, and there are a lot of them. And at the time, El Rufai said, they use the night bus to carry Igbo people to come to Nasarawa to come and do. And now when Peter Obi arrived in Canada, and there were so many people, they had to change to a bigger hall. They changed the hall, and they got a bigger hall, and yet the bigger hall got filled up, and they were restricting people from coming in. And, so we're like, yeah, uh, it's the same people. They use night bus to go to Canada to wait for him, and they probably use night bus to go to Germany to wait for him, and they use night bus to go to. It's the same people just following him from place to place, so that it seems as if he has a followership, but the following is real. And I think this is there is no other candidate that can pull off a 1 million man march without spending a dime. I can be confident enough to say that there is no other candidate in Nigeria that people will come out on their own, volunteer their money, get DJs will come to play for free, get cars, bring MCs, bring hype men, organize live bands, organize musical troops, and then have maybe 100,000 persons hit the street to support them for free without getting envelopes at the end of the day. I'd like to see that happen, but from every indication, Nobody's willing to do that because all the so-called structures that these parties have created are, are enterprises that they have to service with money, just like the delegates who voted at the APC and the PDP convention, who were paid as much as $25,000 per vote. And when that happened, I was saying to people, if they can pay delegates $25,000, then they have to pay us more per vote. For me to vote for PDP APC, they should better give me like $50,000. And then let's know that we are selling votes now. Because then you can't be giving your delegates 25,000 and then you come out on election day to share, to give people, how much would that be? That would be like $15, $20. That's not acceptable by any logic whatsoever. So they already started a culture of buying votes, and now it's going to be difficult for them to have organic movements as we have for P2B, because the man does not he's not giving any money. They've said he's a stingy man, and we like.
Because it's not about business as usual.
Yes, and he's the kind of person we need, because in the words of P2B, he says Nigeria does not have an earning problem; we have a spending problem, and anyone who can run the mathematics can easily identify with that. Because we make billions uh, virtually on a daily basis from oil alone. And Nigeria is rich. We have uranium, we have gold, we have diamonds, we have all sorts of stuff. We have tin, we have columbite, we have zinc. We have rubber. The natural resources we have in Nigeria are so massive, and we're not even talking about agriculture, right? We're not even talking about Nigerians living in the diaspora who are repatriating, large amounts of money that we should encourage to bring their businesses home to create uh, brands. Like we have 200 million Nigerians. That means that we have a very large market locally that our people can exploit. But no, we're not using any of our potentials. So Obi is right. Income is not the problem of Nigeria. Spending, yeah, that's where the problem is. Because we are, as it is right now, all of the money Nigeria is going to make this year is not going to be enough to pay off the debts that we should pay in a year. So, from this year and maybe from next year, we're going to be spending more than we're earning, servicing debts, which means we're not going to have money to do any new projects. We're not going to have any money to, uh, as a matter of fact, to do anything. We're done for. We're finished. The country is gone as it is. So anybody who does not know how to save, who does not know how to stimulate the economy, who's not able to take us away from this crazy spending that we're having right now, would not be the right man for the job. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a federal University of Construction, right? I think that's what it's called, the Federal University of Construction at Uromi in Edo State.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, I was reading a report on the budget for building that school from last year, and they had some billions of naira. I'm not exactly sure how many, but I know it was more than 10 billion naira that should go into construction within that school. But then on closer inspection, it's less than 500 million that will actually be spent in the school. The rest of the money is for constituency projects by senators in other states. So they created a budget line for Federal University of Construction Uromi, and then they padded it with funds that they were going to spend on themselves. That's the spending. Maybe I'll find that report and I'll send it to you so that you can see. So it's a spending problem. We're spending money on things we don't need. Why are we building rail lines to neighboring countries? Why are we building why would we have four refineries in Nigeria and then we're paying Nigeria Republic to refine petroleum products for us? Is it cheaper to buy petroleum from abroad, or is it cheaper to operationalize one or two or all four refineries that we have in Nigeria? You know, why are we buying cars for neighboring countries? Why are we spending so much fighting insurgency, and then and the soldiers are complaining they have inferior firepower compared to the insurgents? They are complaining they are not being paid, they are getting killed, and yet we're spending so much fighting insurgents. Why does nobody know what a Nigerian senator earns? Why do we not know what the president of Nigeria earns every month? you know so why do we have ex governors and presidents and legislators who earn pensions? And these are some of the reasons why the economy is getting worse and worse every day, because at the end of this administration we're going to have more senators, more reps that we're going to pay pensions. We're going to have more governors that are going to earn pensions from a country whose income is not increasing by any by any means at all. So we're in a rut. We're in a situation where we're expanding all that we have without hopes of recouping or building up the economy, of improving the economy. And so we need a man who can save money. We need a man who can fix the spending problems, a man who will not be afraid to call people to order. Peter Obi, as governor of Anambra State, was impeached for saving money because at the time he came into office, they had awarded contracts to rebuild the governor's lodge. And for a lot of money, I think for over 500 million naira or so at the time. And he came in and was like, this is too much. We can do this for less than 80 million. And he rebuilt the lodge with less than 80 million. And they impeached him for saving money without following due process. That's official.
And what is due process? So that they can share it with the people, share the money.
Probably the legislators who approved that who approved the budget already, they padded it and they already put in funds for themselves. So it must have been disappointing when they realized that the governor uh, wasn't just going to sign the papers for the money to get disbursed, and he would go on to sit with the contractor to look at the bills and to cut it down. And it must have been very disappointing for them. They didn't like that, and maybe they tried to call him to order, but he wasn't forthcoming. That's the kind of why would we spend so much money building, building rail lines and building, fixing refineries, fixing the power sector? The amount of money we've thrown into the power sector in Nigeria is enough for some other countries to start. In fact, what we spend trying to maintain our refineries is less than what other countries spend building brand new refineries. And these refineries are fully functional, and yet we are where we are. And
I don't think they are really spending the money. I think they are just sharing it among themselves. And because they are a group of crooks, you don't know how much they are really earning. Why should we know? The thing is, it's not still really clear whether we are citizens of this country where they need to account to us, or we are just slave to them where they do whatever thing they like. Because if you are working for the people should know how much they are paying you as a salary. So we should know how much we are paying the president. Because you are the president of this country, meaning you are the number one employee to the people. You are working for the people of Nigeria. How can you not tell them how much you are earning? Because they are the one paying you from their taxes, from the oil of this country. This oil does not belong to the president of the country. It belongs to the people of Nigeria. So the money is coming from them. They should know how much they are giving to you. Because they are a crook among themselves, they share, that money that you did make mention of, that billions of dollars that have been awarded for power.
Yeah.
It's not really used to spend to work on the power. It is shared among themselves because they have this company that is set up where they usually recycle the money among themselves. That is why they don't want to leave, because they're not ready to serve the people. They're ready only to serve themselves. And that is over. It's no longer going to be acceptable.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we saw that play out. I think that was last year when the joint committee was probing the NDDC, and then they brought in the professor who was the director of the NDDC, and I think Professor Ponde, and he would faint, at the heat of questioning, because then they wanted to understand where all the money went and why he was spending so much money, and he conveniently fainted. Right now, they would invite the senator who was supervising, actually the minister for Niger Delta Affairs. What's his name? Forgotten. The dude who was governor of Akwa Ibom State, right? So they invite him and he sits down and he's talking to the senators, and they're saying, can you explain to us what happened to this money? Can you explain to us why this happened? And at the time, he got frustrated and he said, honorable members, I used to be one of you, but let's talk since people want to talk, right? You are the biggest beneficiaries of NDD's funds. And the chairman said, what do you mean? I said, wait, are you not the ones who get the contracts? And he said, Mr. Chairman, was this contract not awarded to you? And they started to list the contracts and started calling their names and listing who got what. And that's where this popular saying, off your mic, came from. Honorable Minister, it's okay. It's okay. Honorable Minister, off your mic. Honorable Minister, it's okay. Off your mic. And that's how the proceedings ended. They stopped probing. Because I mean, like you're a beneficiary of a corrupt system, and then you're coming out.
They are crook.
Yes, you're coming out to question your bedfellow about what's happened. Because you know what they say: call a dog a bad name. And the minister says, I'm not going to take the fall for this one. All of us share the money, so let's just expose ourselves in public. And that's how that probe ended. Nothing happened to Professor Ponde. Nothing happened to Godswill Akpabio. Yes, Senator Godswill Akpabio, that was his name. So is the system we run. They create this thing where they are sharing money and everybody's getting a bit of it, and it's unfortunate and that's why when you asked at the beginning if I was interested in running for government, I said no, because once you find yourself in any of those situations, if you're not careful, you'll quickly run into problems. Because I know that for a man like Professor Ponde, he got into that office without understanding what he was doing, and they'll say, oh God, just approve this money, let's just share this one, let's use one for palliative. And I know, like, when they asked him, say, oh God, what do you use 600 million for? He said, we use it for palliative. Say, for who? Say, we shared it among ourselves. The response, you could tell he was just innocently because if he was thinking through, now how would you give yourself palliative in hundreds of millions? How many people work in that establishment, as a matter of fact? And then you see the way he was, and then at the time when he realized he had messed up, he decided to faint. So he acted that drama and they had to carry him away. Yeah, but when the experienced minister came in, he knew all about it. When they fired him, he fired them back, and the case ended. So sometimes when you get into government, okay, like the people who impeached Peter Obi for saving money without due process, they would have come and said, Your Excellency, can we show you how this is done? You can't just save money that way. This is how you.
Let's share it so that we'll go hide it in a Swiss bank or some European country.
And they will bring the money and then they say, Your Excellency, this is your share. In fact, he will get an alert and they would have dropped some money. Say, what's this? Oh, Your Excellency, that's your share of the money. Okay, good. Now, here's another story, right? When Peter Obi was governor of Anambra State, now this came out in the public, that's why I knew about it. And the commissioner for lands allocated 2 plots of land to him. This is a very common practice. Even here in Enugu, they allocate to commissioners, they allocate to themselves. So they create estates and then they give themselves. And then you hear that this one is for commissioner, this one is for this group of people. And the governor has more lands than any other person in the state, right?
The land that belongs to the people.
Yes. Now, the commissioner for lands in Anambra allocated 2 plots of land to Peter Obi as governor, and he rejected them. And he returned. He wrote his response and sent back to the minister and said, I mean, to the commissioner and said, I can't accept this. I'm the governor of the state. I'm not allowed to acquire lands from the state in this way, you know. And that's very exemplary, because then in a lot of states, the governor would be demanding for lands. He will call the commissioner and say, "Come, I need all the choice lands." The Jagaban did that in Lagos, and that's why he's called the landlord. In Lagos, the other name for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the landlord of Lagos, because after he became governor, he acquired all the choice properties. He acquired so much, that he owns the Bar Beach.
He only live in Lagos.
Yeah, he owns the whole Lagos. That's why I call him Lagos landlord. You know, but that's what politicians do. They use their powers, they use their time in office to enrich themselves. But that's a system that also should end and should stop, because the resources in this country should serve the best interest of the people and not the best interest of a few politicians.
Thank you so much for that. Now, what would be your final thought here to conclude the conversation?
Well, I think that it's now or never, for us in Nigeria. And I say this to all persons, young and old, and anyone who gets a chance to ever hear this podcast. It's now or never. When people say the time is not right, say not now, I say when. Because then life is short, and we can't leave the burden of fixing this country to our children. It's something we need to do, and we need to do it now, and we need to do it fast. All hands need to be on deck, and everyone needs to play an active role, no sitting on the fence, in ensuring that come 2023, we're electing someone who's capable, someone who has the right experience, someone who has the good heart and is ready to do the right thing by the people and reestablish this country as a giant of Africa, as the beautiful bride of the world. We're more enriched in human and natural resources than any other country. And I think that we need to take our place in the League of Nations as true giants and become really influential in the scheme of things here. So I hope everyone who has a PVC will have the courage to cast their votes for the right candidates. Well, personally, I think that would be Peter Obi, and I hope everybody is willing to retire these old men. Wash, let's wash them out of the system and bring up a new crop of politicians, not only at the federal level but at the state level, in the legislature, in every arm of government. Let us have responsible governance for the first time in the history of Nigeria. I think we're ready, and I think it is doable.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. That has been really very interesting and also very tough. Of course, it's not the last conversation that we are going to have. We have more as the 2023 is coming up. We'll have more to talk about here. Because we are here for this. So Thank you so much for the time and also for the sharing.
Yeah, thank you very much. I look forward to other conversations. And as things unfold, we analyze them.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.